there is content, right? And then there is distribution.
Yeah.
Do you think this kind of move by BBC, or it doesn't have to be BBC, any conventional TV channel or any conventional broadcaster now has to adjust to the new way that people consume content, and perhaps the more fragmented way, now that there is so many different channels, so many different ways of actually consume an event, if you can call it that. Is it a necessity for those broadcasters to change their ways? And if they're not proactive, can they still survive on their kind of old, perhaps outdated model?
So I think there's an interesting discussion and debate going on in the media and sports industry in general, which is around how far is the shift going to go, and what's the right potentially mix between the traditional linear, I want to watch my sport live and I want to watch it on a television channel, through to I want to consume it in a stream on a website, through to a more on-demand model. So I'm actually just interested in highlights, or I'm quite happy to not watch the live experience.
Yeah.
I'll watch it on catch-up. And a business like the BBC sort of caters for all of that already. They've got the iPlayer, they've got BBC Sport, and they've got their social channels, they've got their highlights packages, and they've got the live broadcast. Now, they don't have that for everything, but that's the kind of distribution options that they've got. Now, obviously, they're a pretty big and well-established broadcaster, but what you're starting to see is you've got strong players coming into each one of those areas. So in the on-demand area, you've got an Amazon coming in with an on-demand offering. In the streaming area, you've got a Facebook which is starting to buy up rights, and in the linear, you've got all the sort of traditional broadcasters vying and fighting for rights, whether that's Sky Sports or whether that's ESPN or whether that's BBC. There aren't many people that have got the entire breadth, but if you go down to the on-demand end of the spectrum, it's well, why do I actually need to have a linear? Because I'll just pay for it when I want it, and I'll consume it when I want it, on my terms, not on your terms. And there were some interesting plays coming in this place. So Perform, a sports media business, they're starting to create specific options and packages in the on-demand space and in the streaming space, which are starting to compete and vie for the more traditional. I'm going to make an appointment to view. I'm going to sit down. It's 2 o'clock, Sunday the 15th of July. It's men's final. I'm going to sit there and watch it.
All on your terms and on your time frame. I think this is fascinating to me, and I think behind a lot of this is just time, the way people started valuing their time and the way they don't want to budge to for example watch the ads. Even you were talking about catch-up TV, like that was a thing before what's happening now, and that's relatively recent. Before, it just used to be you just watch the TV, you just watch the channel, and then whatever comes on comes on. Can we just talk about advertising for a second? Because to me, I think live sports is one of the last places in terms of media and entertainment where advertising is still alive in a way that it was before. So that, for example, if you're watching men's final, if, for example, a brand got lucky enough that consumers not on Twitter in between the sets, which probably won't happen, or if the consumer, I don't know, dropped the remote for some reason, they can't reach it, so they have to watch the ad or whatever is in between, then isn't live sports one of the last places where there's actually really good ROI on TV conventional ads?
I'm not a media buyer, and I don't sell ad space, but I can give you sort of my perspective on it. There's ads in the breaks, and then there's ads that are displayed with the product, with the content. So if you look at what you get, say, on ESPN versus BBC around Wimbledon, ESPN will have ad breaks, BBC won't. Is there any what's the value on that ad break for ESPN? Now, I think there's there's a broader question, which is how much does a consumer actually ever focus on an ad?
I mean, surely it is decreasing.
I think, you know, TV ads are still obviously well valued because, you know, businesses still pay a lot of money for them. I think that they work when you've got I personally find they work for me when there's an element of humour about them. You know, I would have been watching some ads last night, couldn't I recall any of them now? No.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to talent, right? That's always differentiating.
Yeah. So whether it's within a sports segment or whether it's within a whether it's in a break in EastEnders or whether it's in, you know, wherever it is, you know, you're targeting it based on the audience that you think are consuming that product.